Okay.
Hi, I want to introduce myself quickly. My name is Mahmut Gündoğdu. I have been a self-taught software developer for 10 years. I began my career as a C# developer. Then I moved on to front-end development in the past. I have developed apps with React, AngularJS, known as Angular 1, Vue, and many other technologies. In my experience, Angular is perfect JavaScript-based UI framework for a C# developer. It has similar concepts to the backend, like dependency injection or service class. Also, TypeScript is similar to C#. This similarity will quicken your learning. First topic is the standalone component. Before we begin, I should mention that it is a feature from the developer preview, so it is not recommended for use in the production yet. As you seen in the picture, standalone component look like a combination of components and ng module. Personally, I don't like ng modules. I know they exist for a good reason, like defining components, pipes, providing service, and so on. But I feel it is too much boilerplate. Standalone component options allow us to define components, directives, or pipes, just one line of code, without using ng module. Let's check the example. This is how to define a component as a standalone. We set a property in component decorator and we are ready. Our component has ng module abilities. Now we can provide the service classes, or we can import module or another standalone component in this structure without ng module. Existing applications can optionally and incrementally adopt a new standalone style without any break changes. We can create our new components as standalone with CLI. Only requirement is a standalone flag you are seeing. What about the others? I shown an example with component, but we can also define directives and pipes as a standalone in Angular 14. So it is not limited just a component. How to lazy loading standalone components? When using ng modules, you are define a router definition, but we are using standalone component. We can use load component function. There is no need to extra definition. When lazy loading many routers at once, we are defining a router array. Use them in loading child method, like ng module, and our standalone component became lazy loaded. The path no need to define an admin routing module. What's the benefit of standalone components? Angular code became much more simpler and more manageable. We can already easily use scan pattern with standalone. What is the scan? Let me remind you. Scan is alternative approach for sharing components between your Angular modules. Single component Angular module, or SCAM for short. It is a pattern for creating Angular modules and only one component or directive or pipes. Every element had its own module and it manages its dependencies and declarations itself. Benefit of standalone components are similar to SCAM. Smaller module definition, every element stores only its own definition, clear responsibility, and dependency. These bring us much more easiness in understanding the code and refactoring. In the ABP code base, we are not using SCAM, or we are not using a little chunk like Angular material library. We have a giant model in ABP and ABP commercial. It has quite complicated dependencies and configurations. So we just published Leptonix theme packages. It's quite new. Leptonix will replace it ng modules with standalone components when the stable version of the standalone are released. I personally like idea of the standalone components, but at the same time, I feel a little bit confused. We are defining something in component. We are also implementing component like ng module, but name is still component. That was we are not allow us to do before Angular 3. It is obvious we need some new name convention or some patterns for standalone component. The best practice will be created by Angular community soon. Is the ng module dead? Answer may be yes for some developers, but it is likely no for the majority of pragmatic developers. At least not yet. ng modules were required in the past, but now they are optional. With the Angular 14, we can use ng modules, standalone components, and we can also use them both at the same time. Right now, we must keep using ng modules in the production projects because standalone component feature is marked as developer preview. Thank you, everyone. My topic is finished. We will continue with Mohammed.
Thank you, Mahmoud.
Thank you, Mahmoud.
Can you share my screen? Yes, thanks. Hello, everyone. I am Mohammed Altu. I've been using Angular in frontend for 5 years. I've been working at BOSA for 2 years. My first topic is strictly typed reactive forms. One of the features that come with Angular 14 is strictly typed reactive forms. This feature is added by default to reactive forms. Because before TypedForms, type of form value was any. Form group methods like page value were in type-safe. This situation could cause runtime errors. Untyped form classes added for migrating. When upgrading the project version with the ng update command, it converts these classes automatically. For example, form group class will convert to untyped form group. Form record has form controls and each of form controls has the same type. Like form glue, it tracks the value and validity state of these controls. Form record also allows for the addition and removal controls as needed. It can be used with dynamic keys. Form record accepts one generic argument, which describes the type of controls it contains. Let's look at an example. I created an application with ABP CLI, and I generated an entity with ABP suite to this application. And I simplified the component class by removing generated methods and properties, like submit form. As you can see, form group does not have a generic type, and form created in build form method. The form has the name and publisher fields. If I look the type of form value, it's any. Even form builder returns a type, because form group does not have a generic type. Also, methods of form group accepts any type, like page value. If I write this form value author, or if I write the update form with author property, there is no error. I created an interface named bookform. Bookform interface has same properties with book.io, but type of these properties wrapped with form control. wrapped with form control. End of build form method. TypeScript autocompletes the properties of form value, name, publisher. If I try to give a property except book form properties, TypeScript gives an error and app will not compile. Finally, if I try with the name attribute, there is no error. With this feature, we can manage forms more easily. Creating form group types and entity generation with ABP is in our roadmap. My topic finished. Thanks.
Thank you, Mohammed. So now we are with you, Fatih, to introduce us CanMatch. Are you ready?
Yes, can you share? Okay. Thank you, Mahmoud and Mohammed. It was pretty understandable. Hello, everyone again. I am Fatih. I have been working as Angular developer at Volosoft for about 7 months. Today, I will talk about a few features that come with Angular 14. The first of these is the CanMatch Guard. As you know, Guard in Angular is a class that decides to route can be loaded, activated, or even deactivated. The CanMatch Guard decides if the route is matched. In addition, when one of the defined guard returns false, the route is skipped and other routes are proceed instead. I think it will be better to understood through the example. In ABP framework, there are areas where we can use the CanMatch Guard. To give an example, one of them. There are two components in here, app component dashboard and app tenant dashboard. These are connected with custom ABP permission in here directive. Here, the user has only one of the host or tenant permission. Just have one of them, host or tenant. So can the CanMatch Guard be used instead of this situation here? Of course, in this case, instead of calling to different component in the template, we can use CanMatch Guard. Firstly, we are going to create a CanMatch Guard that decides if a user attribute and path match. You can see this guard in second picture here. Here we created a guard that implemented from CanMatch. Then we learned that from this example, the user is host or tenant by injecting service that belong to the ABP framework and control the permission. By the way, it's enough to check only one of them, because as I said at the beginning, the user can only have one of these permission, host permission or tenant permission. Doesn't matter. You can check here host permission or tenant permission. In the next step, we use the guard we created in the routing model. As you can see in the first photo here, we see two different routing with the same path in here. The router checked the configuration one by one. Firstly, it matches the empty path which render host dashboard component and return the CanMatch Guard. If it returns false, it will scan the rest of the configuration by starting with the next one, which render tenant dashboard component. I think you can see in here. And also guard and resolver can be inline function instead of class. This feature is also come with Angular 14. A single line code is better to writing a new class than implementing anything. For example, we can do this inline. We can do CanMatch Guard inline without the need for CanMatch Guard interface. We can make it inline. That's all I can tell you about CanMatch Guard. I hope it was understandable. Thank you for listening.
Many thanks, Mahmoud, Mohammed, and Fatih, for giving us a very vivid explanation about Angular 14. I guess especially Mahmoud and Muhammad, I think you are pretty talented for selecting stickers, right, for your slides. Okay, so before we move on to the second round, topics of Angular 14, I want to call attention to you again that we're going to have the giveaway gift campaign for JetBrains dotUltimate. So don't forget to leave your questions right now for winning the gift, and we will answer you at the Q&A session with Alper. Okay, guys, now I give the stage back to you. All right. I guess,
Yes.
Okay. We are with you,
In my opinion, one of the best features of Angular 14 is new dependency injection. It can be used within the component directives and pipes. And we can also create reusable functions that use dependency injection. So they are like the service, but simpler. Before the Angular 14, we are using constructor injections. On some cases, it continues to grow and grow, as you see in the picture. Every Angular developer has been in this scenario, maybe even worse. But now we have a new option. Thanks to the new dependency injection method, we can split inject definition into tiny functions without using constructor. Let's look to the example. This function creates an HTTP request. GetProduct function implements a new inject function as we can now use injects in function. We can access dependency injection capabilities in other functions. I think it is great to be able to reach inject method without passing a reference. It is easy to use. It's also look like a little bit React hooks. Let's check another example. In this example, we are creating a function that is getting an observable as a parameter, and function disposes the observable when the component is destroyed, like our ABP subscription service. But it is much more simple because we didn't define any provider. With the inject function, we can access the lifecycle of component in a function. Let's continue to another example. Before the Angular 14, we had to pass dependencies straight into inherited class to abstract class with the constructor. When we need to inject dependencies into abstract class, it was a little bit messy. With the inject function, it is now much more easy and cleaner. Now, we can define instance in the abstract class as a property and use them easily. Don't forget, the new inject function is only supported during the instantiation of the dependency by DI system, like constructor. It is not working on ng on init or another events. Thank you. My last topic is finished. We will continue with Mohammed.
Okay, we are with you, Mohammed.
Thanks. My next topic is ESBuild. ESBuild is a JavaScript bundle to improve build tool performance. It is written with Go. According to ESBuild documentation, 10 to 100 times faster than other build tools. It parallelizes parsing, printing, and source map generation. Bundling ES6 and CommonJS modules, build TypeScript and JSX, and tree shakings are major features. I created an app with ABP CLI in AppFlow template. When I build it with Webpack, as known as Build Angular browser, it takes around 46 seconds. When I built with ESBuild for same project, it took around 17 seconds. ESBuilder for Angular is experimental now. Some of configuration in Angular JSON not fully supported, as you see. With Angular 14, importing CSS as an ECMA module is not supported anymore. All theme packages were using this method for loading their CSS files. After this change, we might use raw loader for keep same behavior. But the raw loader also deprecated in Webpack 4. Also, in future, we might have had to make breaking change again, because we should support ESPuit when it is available. We decided move CSS configurations in AngularJSON. This is standard behavior in Angular applications. You can see an example of style configuration of Leptonic slide. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mohammed. Are you ready, Fatih?
Yes, I'm ready. You can share.
Okay.
Okay. Hi again. Another feature come with Angular 14 is route provider. I will talk about it. We already know that we can get rid all ng module with this standalone component, as Mahmoud said. But what about the provider? How we will provide something? Angular 14 allow us to add provider into the router config. It's quite easy, and they will be provided once a user hit the route. First of all, I want to talk about for root and for lazy in ABP. As you know, the for root is the static method that configure the root routing module for your app. Like for root, for lazy can configure token at the time of lazy loading. If you want to check for lazy and lazy module factory in here, you can see. You can check it out from our open source project, ABP on GitHub. I think it can be better understood on the example. Let's see how to use this feature on ABP. In fact, it's one of the important features for us on the ABP side because we are trying to provide token during lazy loading with the for lazy methods. As you can see in the code block, we created a static method called for lazy to provide the token on the ABP side. We were doing lazy loading using this for lazy method. But with the route provider that come with Angular 14, we can provide it without need for new method. We will see how to use it on the next slide. In here, we used provider instead of lazy for lazy method. As you can see in the code, we have provided the option and the action contributor value for the identity and the action contributor token. That's all I will talk about route provider. And also we told you about major feature we talked about. Other subject heading are as on the screen come with Angular 14. These are page title resolver, Angular CLI autocomplete, environment initializer, environment injector, and optimized image. Also, you can find the link that we do our research. It might be helpful to have a look, I think. Thank you for listening again. That's what we are going to talk about Angular 14. I hope all of these was understandable. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, guys. Okay, right now, finally, we move on to the exciting Q&A session. During this session, we have noted people who ask questions. So after answering all questions, picked up questions by Alper, we will announce the winners. And still, meanwhile, you can ask your questions and taking part in the giveaways campaign. Okay, let's take a look at what are the questions we have for today.
First, I'm starting with Paul's question. He's asking whether the Leptonix and Lite version of Lepton X is Angular 14. Yes, we already built the template on top of Angular 14. The stable version, which is live now, is working with Angular 14. And next, let me pick Vladislav's question. Are there any plan to integrate with Blazor? Yes, our templates are integrated with Blazor and also .NET MAU. I'm going to share my screen. And next question, Shade. Is it possible to share with us an article that discuss how to change the identity client and API for production, please? I couldn't understand if the question is related about Identity Server 4 or Microsoft Identity Library. But if you're asking about the Identity Server 4, you can make the changes in the database level and also in app settings JSON files. But is it possible to write your question in GitHub discussions in ABP framework, so we can discuss it with you? Next, Johan, I currently have an ASP.NET 0 license. Would you recommend to continue? If your ASP.NET 0 project is working very well, so you can continue with it. But if you are interested in the new features of ABP, so don't waste time to switch to ABP. Paul has another question. When will docs in ABP be updated? Okay, if you are asking about the preview releases documentation, we don't write documentation about the preview release. It's for internal use and also for the new adopters. While we are releasing the preview versions, we are also writing the documentation. That's why it's hard to catch the documentation. To release the preview in a very early stage, we are immediately releasing it before writing the documents. That's why we don't expose the documentation when we update the preview release. Mohammed Rashid is asking about Leptonix is ready for production. So I see some small lagging in loading styles on the demo website. Yeah, there are some minor problems and issues, but it's really worth to switch your Lepton to Leptonix because the team is working on Leptonix right now, and even there are minor problems. We are releasing patch versions to cover these problems. So Angular team, do you have a recommendation for a good resource? Don Gott is asking. So he is a C# developer, I guess. If you have...
Actually, I have. Personally, I like courses of Maximilian. He is the most liked Udemy tutor also. Also, I like Angular University courses. And one of another Udemy tutor is Mosh Hamedani. This resource is very good, I think. Also, very specific topic, but member of NG Turkey written a good Angular article. I would like to this resources.
Okay, Mahmut, can you write links for the for these websites to the comments section so that C# developers can benefit from them?
Sure.
Okay. And switching to Shadi's question, do you have a tutorial that explains how to upgrade both backend and Angular to the latest version? And in this 6.0 RC blog post, you can see all the new features, and also there are the links to upgrade your backend and front end to the latest ABP version. The links are here, and this is the URL. Go to blog ABP.io and search for 6.0 RC has been published article, and you can see the upgrading tutorials. This is the migration guide for open source ABP framework backend and front end upgrade, and this is the commercial side of this documentation. And also, we have a general documentation for upgrading an ABP project. Here, you can follow these steps to upgrade your ABP project to any new version. It's a very general documentation for upgrading from one specific version to another. Okay, let's move to other one. Masum Ulu, hi, can we make lazy load the services with inject function? Who would like to answer the question?
I can. You can use inject function in lazy loaded components, but you can use inject function in lifecycle events.
Okay. Shadi has another question. With the new version, with injection, are we will to remove the injection from the constructor?
You can, or you can keep the old behavior.
Okay, so is there any benefit if he removes it from the constructor?
Yeah, the benefit is when the extend class and calling the support call, you don't need provide parent constructor parameters because
So,
it injects with inject function on dependencies.
okay, so I guess the suggestion is not using injection in the constructor. Wu Boda, what is service life scope if it's injected using inject function? Anyone wants to answer his question?
Actually, nothing is changed. You are defining life cycle in module or maybe provide in root singleton. Inject function does not change life cycle of service.
Okay. Let me pick a question from Alp. Are there any plans to add a template for React for the web? Yes, that's a good question. React is trending up in statistics, but for ABP, there is no plan to support React version. It's hard to support all the other frameworks, UI frameworks, because when we make a new feature, we also support all the other four UI front ends, and it's hard to maintain all the UI front ends. But there is no restriction to add a new one from your side. You can add a React version, and you can also contribute to the ABP repository, so we can accept and other people can benefit from it. Any news about the marketplace? Marketplace is still in our backlog. So in the short term, it's not going live, but in the long term, we are still thinking about it. What's the question? Identity Server 4 that become with ABP. We have dropped the references of Identity Server 4 and we have replaced it with OpenID Dict. Now all our ABP IO websites are working with OpenID Dict library without any problems. It's open source and we are one of the sponsors of OpenID Dict library and it's free. So the new versions of ABP will be based on OpenID Dict. Questions are coming. Washington Asero. I read that Lepton-X Lite would be open source. Yes, it's open source. If so, where can I find the source code or contribute? Maybe you guys can answer him. They want to contribute.
Yes, but Leptonics Lite packages in our private repo. We don't have plans make it open source right now, but in future soon also.
Okay. I thought it would be great if it's open source. Okay, we can discuss it. Can we override all templates for our template? I couldn't get the question, if you understand.
In my understanding, if you want your custom theme, you shouldn't use ABP's theme packages at Angular side or backend side. You can create your theme packages as yours.
Okay, under Getty, we can switch to X only in 6.0. So he's asking, I think he is in an early version of before 6.0, but you need to upgrade to the latest version 6.0 to be able to use Leptonics. So it's a must. And we are running out of time. Last questions. Mohammed, any plan to support other JavaScript frameworks? No, as I said, it's hard to cover and support all the UI frameworks. Even it's now hard to make the new features for, we have 4 UI frameworks: Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor Server, Angular, and MVC jQuery version. Even it's hard to support these 4 platforms. Nevzat Topçu, personal question. Is that easy for you to keep your Angular apps up to date? Is it easy, guys?
Depends on version.
Yes.
Depends on breaking changes.
Yeah.
Angular
Depends.
14 is so hard for me. Upgrading of Angular 14 is so hard because we have a CSS problem. Mohammed will talk about it. Talk about it.
Can the ABP framework support event sourcing? Sit hello. Out of the box, there is no event sourcing feature, but also there is no limitation to use event sourcing in ABP microservice templates. You can use it. And Shadi, he's asking his 5th question. This is the last question, please. Any plan to use micro front-end architecture in Angular? What do you think, guys?
We should read documentation about this architecture. It is in our roadmap, but it's very next versions.
Okay, in the future.
Maybe
Yes.
short answer is maybe no. We can't plant any feature about microservice.
Thanks, Mahmoud. It's very clear now. Okay, guys, we almost completed 1 hour, and thanks for listening us. I'm giving my words to Ru.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alper, and all of you guys for answering the questions. So now we already have the winners of the dotUltimate in below, as you can see. And I want to say your names out, all 3 of you. Joe, Jen, Siegler. Sorry about my pronunciation about your names. I really...
Johan Sigler, I think.
Johan Sigler, okay. And Masam, Ulu, and Andrighetti Mattia.
Andrighetti Mattia, I think Italian.
Sorry, I really... It's very mixed pronunciation, but congratulations, guys. And so for the 3 winners of you, I'd like to mention, please contact us at marketing@volosoft.com with I am the winner of dotUltimate in the subject line, and then we can arrange your gift. All right, well, I think it is time to say goodbye. Thank you for joining today's APP Community Talks. We appreciate you attending and hope you've enjoyed this episode. And again, thank you to our speakers and our sponsor JetBrains. We will see you next time. Thanks a lot for attending. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
See you.